Okay guys, let's do a mini lesson on setting. I know what you're thinking. Setting, come on. Setting's just the when something takes place and the where something takes place. And that's exactly right. Basically, the setting just kind of gives us, it helps us visualize the atmosphere. It could be nighttime, morning time. We could be in the park. We could be in a house. We could be on the top of a mountain. Could be freezing. Could be super hot. That's great. Those things are great and they're easy to identify. But we need to take our setting thoughts just a little bit deeper. Just now, thinking to yourself, how can you take setting deeper than just the when and the where? Well, let's talk about a couple of things. First of all, the setting tells us this, but it also sets the mood of your story and the tone of the story. If you really think about it, when you watch how the character acts, you start to get a sense of, should I be frightened? Is this a scary place? Or, oh, is this place amazing? These rides are great. We're screaming and yelling. So the setting is important for our mood and our tone. The setting also affects what happens in the story. I mean, the setting of midnight, sorry guys, but in Cinderella, it affects the story big time. What happens to Cinderella? That's right. She goes all the way back and loses all that wonderful dress and the carriage and her horsemen. So the setting affects what happens. It's deeper than just the when and the where. Okay, and another one, the third one, characters. Now you know if we're not talking about setting, we got to have some characters in here. Characters, and here's the word, react to the setting. I don't even know if you guys can see that over there. Yeah. Okay? The characters react to the setting. And we know that because of their thoughts. I mean, if it's dark outside, a little scary, the moon's glowing, their thoughts are probably going to creep us out when we start reading what they're thinking or when we start making an inference of our own. Their words and their actions. If that kid starts running out of there, you know it's scary. All these things take us one step deeper into the setting. We don't need to let ourselves stay up here. We need to dive into this. We know that we've got to have a mood and a tone to enjoy the story. We got to have the effects, and we have to understand how these characters react. We have to understand that through their thoughts, words, and actions. And this starts to come naturally when you start that practice. You'll quit saying, 12 o'clock on the beach. You'll quit doing that and you'll start being able to do all of this. So along with that, let's go ahead and get us some questions down right here, or a question, maybe 2 or 3, that we can ask ourselves to help feed this. First of all, what details did the author use? What details did he use to portray this setting? What did he say? How did he make that character act? What was the dialogue that he wrote that made us understand the setting? How to feel the mood, the tone. What details did he use? You can list those things. There were tons of details in Cinderella. She had to take off running down the steps. The prince was chasing her. Her pumpkin started tumbling down the road. There's tons of details to make you understand how that setting affected all of this. Okay? And then ask yourself this question. To me, this is an important question oftentimes because then you can put yourself in the place of it. What are your experiences? What are your experiences that relate to this story? I mean, are you Cinderella when she's running around cleaning up after her siblings? I know my daughter thinks she is. She thinks her brothers are the mean brothers making her do all the work. So how do your experiences help you to understand the setting in more depth, which makes you understand the story? All right, and let's do another one. Another thing. How does thinking deeply about the story help you understand? I think we just answered that. I don't even think I have to write that on here. We just said if you're thinking like this and you're plugging in the mood and tone, the effects, and how characters react, then you are thinking deeply about it and you are understanding the story. And then you're enjoying it. And even if it's a story you don't like because you're sitting in the classroom reading it and you're thinking, this is boring, at least you still understand it so that you can apply it to the questions. For instance, if you happen to have the distance learning packet number 3, there's a story in there called Walking for My Life. And this little mini lesson will help you on questions 3 and 4. You'll be able to write a great little paragraph going into some depth. Okay? All right, and I thank you for listening. If you don't have that packet, well, hopefully you can apply this to every story you read. Let me just throw this out there for you guys. If you read the history book, the Bible, it is hard to understand if you don't understand the setting. The setting is so important for everything that you read. You've got to learn how to dig deeper than just the where and just the when. Okay? And that's the setting.